This is everything I eat in a day while cycling across Japan. On today's agenda, we're climbing closer and closer to the northern tip with a 60-mile push from Sendai to Ichinoseki. As I was going to retrieve my steed, I discovered that you can actually store your bike underground here to help reduce street clutter and theft, and then I got moving towards breakfast. I was looking for something a little more local, and I found this chazuke, which is a little rice bowl topped with salmon and roe, and you pour some dashi broth or sometimes tea over it. The set also comes with a little baby dango skewer topped with edamame mochi, which rounds everything out as a super light yet still pretty well balanced breakfast. So to throw that balance out the window, I grabbed this dorayaki sandwich, which was stuffed with a ton of thick and fluffy whipped cream and a layer of sweet red bean paste. As I got rolling for the day, the morning was super chill, riding along the side of some highways and farmland with pretty solid scenery. I accidentally put a little bit too much air in my tubeless tire, so that boy popped off the rim, but I fixed it up no problem. By the way, side note, a lot of you guys have been asking about my bike, and I've been running the Priority 680X this trip, and thus far it's had pretty much zero issues. And because it runs a belt drive instead of a chain and an internal gearbox instead of a derailleur, it's also required essentially zero maintenance. Anyway, I eventually pushed through this small rural town where I found a quiet and unassuming shop where I stopped for some lunch. This place was ultra old school and traditional, and they whipped me up this absolutely elite spread of some fresh sashimi and also tempura. And it was the good stuff. A couple of types of tuna, some crabs, scallops, shrimp, octopus, and the price to portion value was kinda nutty. Excellent lunch. As I pushed onward, I was doing some highway riding when I passed this gigantic rest stop that was loaded up with dozens and dozens of different vending machines ranging from ox tongue to boiled eggs, and then I had just a little bit more pushing through some open expanses and quaint local towns before rolling into my hotel for an absolute deal and a half of $36 a night. For dinner, I had my eye on this spot that looked super homey and local where the owner was copping a couple Z's as I pulled up, and here they had this dish that I'd never heard of called soba meshi, which is essentially mixed soba noodles and fried rice with a bunch of different meats and toppings integrated throughout. If you ask me, this is absolutely peak comfort food, and it pairs really well with a little bit of kimchi for some zip, and of course, a little melon ice cream for dessert. Before leaving, I was chatting with the owner in my elementary level Japanese, and he asked me if he could show me this plum wine that he'd been aging for the last year and insisted that I take a bottle home for myself for free. See you guys tomorrow.